coming to you from Reason Alliance Media. This is episode 26, the anniversary show.
Yay!
I'm Ms Bea Haven.
And I'm Demanda Wright.
And we're
promoting secular feminism. It's our 1-year anniversary, and this week we have the educated guest, Kate Ashcraft. We have a PSF quiz show, the year in reflection, and VH1 behind the podcast. It's very exciting.
Yep, it's great. And also, we will be releasing an app for PSF episodes on our anniversary, which is August 17th, 2016. So watch out for that, because we're going to be releasing an app where you can listen to all of your favorite PSF episodes, and you can get new episodes as they come out.
Shit, we're high tech now.
Word. Women are increasingly living religion-free lives and embodying the values of humanism and skepticism in their activism and professional work. There is an upcoming Women in Secularism conference. This will be the 4th of its kind, which will bring together a diverse lineup of speakers to address what it means to be a woman in secularism, not just in theory, but in practice. Come be a part of this important conversation. It will be September 23rd through the 25th, 2016 in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. And this conference is proudly presented by the Center for Inquiry. If you want to find out more information, visit womeninsecularism.org. So definitely check that out. Today on Educated Guests, we have a guest, Kate Ashcraft, also known as the Bluegrass Skeptic, co-host of Unbuckling the Bible Belt podcast. Welcome.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing today?
Awesome.
Good. It's our year anniversary. We're celebrating.
Very excited. Yep.
I was just going to say a big congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's a lot. It's a lot to get to a year, I got to say.
Yeah, I have to say I'm a little surprised we've made it this far.
It takes some dedication, man. It takes a lot of dedication.
Well, everyone has so much going on, and for all of us, everyone involved, to be able to, bi-weekly drop what you're doing and show up and get things done has been pretty amazing. So
yeah. And we are just talking about we're kind of bringing things full circle, because in our first episode, we talked about access to getting tubal ligation, especially in the South.
Yeah, that was one of my main feminist issues, sort of starting the podcast. What did I want to talk about, or what did I want to make more known? And for me, it was access to tubal ligations, because I self-identify as a non-breeder. I don't want any children. And so for a very long time, I have wanted to have that done. And maybe as young as 32, about 32 years old.
I think you were younger than that.
And have always been told, well, I haven't even asked recently. I got tired of asking, but have always been told that I couldn't have that done. And what I want everyone to realize is that it's not a legal issue. It's the way our culture and cultural practices infiltrate best practices in medicine.
Yep.
Yeah, and I had posted an article the other day that I had just happened to see going around on Facebook that was talking about a case in Australia where a woman had she was on her 3rd pregnancy after still using contraception, and was not able to get tubal ligation at 22 because she was told she was too young. And even her husband was not able to get a vasectomy, which is totally reversible.
No, Mr. Wright, when he went to his physician, he walked right in. Nobody asked him if he was married. Nobody asked him how many children he had. And he said, I'm thinking about getting a vasectomy. They said, good. When do you want it?
Wow.
Yeah.
No consideration of his situation or his marriage. And those are all of the questions that I'm sure, Kay, you were asked, or, when you're involved in this kind of process, it's how many children do you have? How old are you? All of that. So are you married? All of those sorts of things.
Oh yeah. It was ridiculous, the lengths they've gone to. And mine's like, I know women who've been through more extreme situations, but I've been trying to get just a hysterectomy done for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. Okay. And I'm not a spring chicken. I'm 39. And I've already got 4 children.
And they still won't do it.
And I had cancer twice.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez.
Had an ablation, had a ligation. I'm like, what do I need to do next? Pull it out of myself, throw it on the ground, burn it with fire, and say, can you please take this out? I mean, what all do you need to do to get needed medical care? That's part of my problem. And it's ironic because my doctor we'll get into, I'm sure, the things he had to go through just to get a ligation done for me, among other things, was ridiculous.
Right. And I would like to know more about why, how this became medical best practice. That's really interesting to me because it seems to me, as a woman walking in to her doctor's office, that these things are very culturally contingent, that women, across the United States aren't experiencing the same kind of practices. Mm-hmm. And, sort of what the process is for those best practices in the South, for instance, how much of our culture is actually influencing that.
Oh, you
absolutely.
Know it is. We're supposed to be going forth and multiplying if you live in the Bible Belt. So their attitude is, even if you're like Sarah and you're 900 years old, if you can produce, why wouldn't you want to? They treat you like an oddity because you're like, I'm done. Or in some folks' case, they don't want any. I've got a 19-year-old who knows she does not want children at all. And she's going to have to chemically make herself infertile until they'll finally say, okay, when she reaches whatever benchmark her particular doctor decides is acceptable.
Right. I knew as early as maybe 21, 22 that I didn't want children and was always told I would change my mind. Yeah. And just recently, I visited Utah. I was taking a shuttle from the airport, and the gentleman happened to be a Mormon, but originally from England. And, we were just having a generic conversation about his grandchildren, and somehow that turned into, so you don't have children? Why not? When are you having them? You're really going to regret this. And, he became a counselor for my vagina.
And that's none of your fucking business.
Yeah, right? It's like, do you obsess much about what's coming in and out of there? Maybe I don't want that in and out. Maybe I just don't want my genetic material to be replicated. I think a lot of people have a hard time understanding it's not just like a fear of birth or whatever. Some of us just don't want that responsibility. We have some reasons, we don't want our family line to continue for whatever reasons. There are some folks who have that rationale. I can appreciate that depending on what they've been through anyway. Yeah. But ultimately, it's that person's choice.
Well, I think so much people automatically think that my identity as a woman is tied to my reproductive capability. And I've never felt that way.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely, I'm sorry, but we are first and foremost, it seems like incubators. It comes across that way. Because once you are pregnant, your worth to society, while it's true that people value you, at the same time, though, you're some zero because they want to take a bet on what you're carrying now instead.
Right.
I always equivocate that. People are like, well, you could be carrying the next Einstein argument. And I say, I understand that, but why can't I be that next Einstein? I'm already contributing to society. I'm already paying taxes. I'm already doing all of these things. Why am I now a moot individual?
Less valued.
And we're going to focus on the next 18 years, what this might turn into when I'm already here. Invest in me. They don't do that with women at all.
And for that matter, they might be the next Hitler.
I've probably told this story before, but that, I was in graduate school trying to better myself, get an education, and we're at my husband's family reunion, and they sort of do this prayer circle thing where they prayed that I would drop out of graduate school and come home so that I could procreate.
Yeah.
So that is more valuable to them than me getting an education.
Yeah, because it makes sense that God's going to subvert your free will based on grandma's prayer to intercede. Yeah. Okay. I always like how they're going to call in Jesus to intercede on your God-given right to have free will. That always blows my... They don't ever see the irony in what they're doing when they do stuff like that.
It's like, Jesus, get her pregnant, give her a baby. Amen.
Yeah. Jesus better not touch your vagina.
But it's I mean, it's a fight for you.
Excuse me, Jesus, we're monogamous.
Exactly.
What I find really interesting, I was kind of in a debate about this on somebody else's Facebook wall, And they had posted this article that was on scarymommy.com about the woman in Australia who was denied the tubal ligation, but also that her husband was denied a vasectomy because his wife was too young. So anyways, I was arguing with this person on this post who originally had wanted a tubal ligation and didn't want children and all this stuff. And then she's like, and my doctor denied it because I was so young. And now I have 2 kids and I would totally have regretted it if I had, you know, gotten a tubal ligation. And I'm like, you could have gotten in vitro fertilization. You could have adopted, but you're going to use your one case to decide how other people get to choose. That's so wrong.
And the argument is always about, it comes down to the fact that really they believe women are more emotional than men, right? Mm-hmm. And so if we decide at a young age that we don't want to have children, we're going to then later on change our minds because we're not very decisive, and then we're going to be really upset and hysterical and they don't want to deal with the tears. I mean, it's just so stereotypical that most times a man can walk in and is just taken at his word. He's a rational creature, right? But apparently we're not, and we're not sure what we want, and we'll be too emotional about it, and therefore we can't decide for ourselves. I mean, that's really how it reads to me when I get that response in a doctor's office.
Yeah, I love how science is it's totally debunked that stupid stereotype. Anyway, science has proven that's not true about women being not emotional. We need to just call for what they're accusing us. We're more irrational because we have hormones is what they're trying to say. And I mean, science has more than proved men are actually very, very emotional. They're no more rational than we are if we want to use that argument. So when you're trying to deal with these doctors, like what I went through, you know, it took me a year of arguing after I gave birth to my fourth child with my son before they let me get the ligation. That's ridiculous. I was 30. Yeah. I had 4 kids under my belt. Okay. I have all these other problems already at this point anyway. I'm like, the most they were willing to do was a ligation. It'd go fast forward. Next thing you know, I'm finding out from a miscarriage because, you know, ligations aren't 100% apparently. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, you've got cervical cancer. I had all those wonderful little cells, eating away at my cervical cancer, moving up to my lining. And they're like, oh, well, we'll just burn it out. I'm like, can't we just cut everything out and be done? Yeah. Oh, no. This procedure, we'll just get rid of it. I'm not using this anymore. Why do we need to keep this in here? They didn't say I'm going to regret anything at this point. They had no reason. They just said you don't need extreme surgery. But it's like, this is something in here I'm not using. It's causing me pain and agony anyway.
And to call that's not an extreme surgery. I mean, they happen all of the time.
I know. I mean, it's not like they left so you can just leave my ovaries in. I'm well educated. And this is something else. When you go in knowing what you're asking for, that really bugs the shit out of the doctor. Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You go in informed. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I know everything. It's like my doctor I've dealt with, the same guy. I stuck with him because he's seen me through and got things done. But I'm in Kentucky, and he has to run it by his peers. It seems like he's got to get approval from other people. It's crazy. Yeah. You know, and he's like, my peers are like, it's still too extreme and too extreme. I mean, you figure I had that, and then I had endometrial tumors. Okay, and it took me a year and a half of dealing with that before I finally got my hysterectomy. A year and a half of that. And that's not even counting my sex life was horrible. I mean, I enjoyed sex, but afterwards, because, you know, I had the wonderful folded over uterus going on. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you're basically just punching yourself in the ovaries the whole time. So when you're done, you're in labor, right? Because you've traumatized yourself, even though you want to enjoy life. I had all of that going on for 6 years prior. And what were they going to do to fix it? I'm like, you can take it out, sling it up. It's too invasive. Nobody would give me answers. Nobody wanted to go there of taking this thing out. And part of it, too, is we have these hospitals in my area. They're all Catholic. Mm-hmm. To get it out, I'm lucky I got it done here in Kentucky. If I hadn't had the tumors, I would not have been able to probably get my hysterectomy here in Kentucky. They would have sent me across the river to Cincinnati.
And that's one of the things that really bothers me too. You were talking about it's like a medical society peer pressure or something. They all have to agree on it. And, you know, I was told that, you know, not only could I not get it done where I wanted to get it done at, but that I wouldn't be able to get it done anywhere else. Like other doctors wouldn't do it either. So, you know, there's no need to shop around. There's no need to find someone to do it because it's not going to happen.
Exactly. I mean, and it took conversation after conversation. I come in, he goes, yeah, we're going to do this. I'm going to bring you in on this visit, and then we'll sit down. We're going to get your surgery mapped out. And then I come back in. And by the time I left, he goes in, and let's just wait. We're going to hold back and just see if things improve. Which is always upsetting because it gets me upset. I'd reached a point, I was maybe once a month, I'd risk having sex because I hated to see the pain on my boyfriend's face afterwards when I was in pain when we were done.
Right.
And, you want to give yourself completely to that person, not because he demanded it. He would go with a year without touching me, no questions asked, not even have an issue with it. It's just, when you really want to be with that person, you want every part of you available. And you can't even get that from the medical community. And then it's not just you that's getting stressed out. It's your partner you're with. Because they're seeing you go through this, and they're seeing how they might contribute possibly to the problem, even though you're just wanting to enjoy life. This stuff causes problems emotionally, financially. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And you can see from your situation particularly that what was most important was your reproductive capability, even though you weren't going to do that anymore, even though you had already had the tubal ligation.
It wasn't even being able to be used anymore.
I know.
And they still wouldn't take it out.
You weren't valued as a whole person, a person who wants to be intimate, a person with a sex life. That wasn't what was important at all.
Oh, yeah. Or they go, oh, well, it's like, it was funny the kind of flip you'll have. So I remember I sat down with my doctor and he's like, well, I talked to some of my peers and they're concerned because, you could have bladder prolapse, where your bladder falls and you might have to get that slung up eventually, blah, 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 because it's going to cause an anatomical change on the inside. It's like, okay, I've read about that. And I know there's slings available. I'm willing to take that risk. What else have I not thought of? And it threw him off at first how educated I was. And he's like, well, he's throwing all these things out there. And then when it came back that, yes, indeed, I had these malignant tumors starting in my uterus, he's like, oh, yeah, we're going to get this out. It's going to be done. And I'm just like, well, what about all these risks you told me about? It's really nothing like that. Don't worry about it, Miss Kate. It's okay. You get this flip-flop in a heartbeat. It's like they have to make their case to these medical boards at these hospitals before they can even get you in there. Because he even said to me, we have to make your case.
Right.
So sometimes I don't completely blame the doctors. It's just they got to go to the board at the hospital.
Mm-hmm. They have to maintain their medical license. That's the pressure that they're facing.
And if they go in front of these people and they're like, listen, she needs us out and it's a Catholic-run hospital, they have to prove my case. It's not enough that I had 4 children. It's not enough I'm over 30. Hell, this time pushing 40. I was 39 years old. Okay? It's not enough that I've had cancer twice, had my lining burnt to deal with excess bleeding and cancer cells. And then I've got a prolapse uterus, and 20 minutes after coitus, I'm in labor pains. That's not enough to make a case, apparently. That's sick. And I'm thinking, what about all these other people? Yeah. I know people in way worse positions than me. They have the cyst, and then there's folks who just want to do this electively, like my daughter. She knows she does not want to have children. She is of sound mind. Why does she? It's true. It's your body. You're right. Why is it she can go and permanently disfigure her body at a tattoo shop then? Why can she, drink? Why can she do all these other things?
Yeah.
Internally, she can go get a nose job now. She can go get her breasts enlarged right now. No questions asked.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Anything to make you appealing. But when it comes down to it,
I think so often when we talk about how important abortion rights are, and they are, personal choice is so important. But in a lot of cases, women, before it ever gets to the point of abortion, we don't have personal choice or personal control over what happens to our own bodies. We don't get to make those decisions.
Not ultimately, we don't. It's always left up to a medical board to approve your procedure or not, apparently.
Yeah, and
if it's a Catholic one, you're screwed.
Yeah, I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and there were a lot of Catholic hospitals up there. So I heard some horror stories up there trying to get medical care for women for any sort of reproductive problem. A very conservative area. So I've definitely heard about those kinds of problems with Catholic hospitals, which has always made me very pissed off that Catholic hospitals are still allowed to continue performing that way, continue with their ongoing hospital procedures that way.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Even, before we get to the point of where, we think about we don't want to have children or whatever, even when we're talking about things like IUDs, you, Ms. Bea, have told me that your sister had issues with that.
Yeah, she was living down here in North Carolina, and she was in her early 20s. I mean, not to say she's not still in her early 20s, but she was younger, or she may have been 19 or 20 at that point. But she would go to her gynecologist and say, "Hey, I want IUD because my boyfriend and I don't want to have kids, at least not at this time." And her gynecologist would not even put an IUD in because she was like, "You're going to change your mind at some point."
Yeah,
and
again,
it's like
you're not.
You can take
capable
those
of making
out.
decisions.
You can take them out. It's not that hard. It's not a problem. Just put it in. And for that amount of time, I'm not going to have kids. It's not that big a deal. And it was only like a 1 to 2 year IUD that she wanted, and it still
and this is affecting a woman's ability to to determine whether or not she wants to procreate, whether all of these
that's all it comes down
it's
to.
ridiculous.
Even with a
more than
female
that.
doctor.
It's affecting your ability to have the choice of your sexual freedom.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's something that I still kind of run into that now and then with, there's still that stereotype around women. I always laugh all the time when we get into the discussion of, well, how many lovers have you had? And I said, when they ask me, I'm like, I act just like a man. And they get quiet and then they start laughing because they know what I mean.
Yeah.
I have that freedom, and it's nice to have that freedom. Yes, there's still consequences. And for some reason they think women have to have that overhead consequence. They use pregnancy not just as a way to define us as being a woman, but they also use it to turn around as a kind of a punishment. That's your due paid for being sloppy or whatever. And it's, I sometimes I don't blame women for not wanting to have kids just because it's such a double-edged sword. It really is. Just with being associated with pregnancy, it's just, people say all the time, "Oh, you're so blah, blah." I'm like, there's a high price tag to that. Yeah, it's so great to be able to create life, but there's a big price tag to that. And I don't think people appreciate the stereotypes in this country. The gender roles that contribute to this just don't help. And then you have all the dogma because we know they pretty much, most religious groups, they have a monopoly on medical care, major facilities and hospitals and whatnot. So it's difficult.
Hey, I got a question you ladies may or may not know. The tubal ligation, I'm thinking what it sounds like listening to you guys is that it's mostly like a religious cultural kind of thing.
For not being able to get one?
Exactly.
Okay.
But so we're talking about the United States. Is it more available in Europe and other countries? Because, they're not as religious as United States claims to be. My doctor, when we talked about me asking about a vasectomy, was Italian.
Yeah.
And so he's like, sure, no problem. So I didn't know if it had to do with like a cultural
I imagine it would definitely affect the numbers, but I don't know the numbers right offhand. But I am, just so you know, going to do a series about
answers are a coming.
Yeah, about the denial of tubal ligation, vasectomies, hysterectomies, because there are so many stories that I need to tell on here, and I really want to talk about, whether we have choices in healthcare and how our culture affects that healthcare. I especially want to talk about the legality and the liability for doctors so that we can get that the fuck out of the way, and so people can stop using that as an excuse.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing if people are being misled to sterilize themselves like some companies did back in the 60s and 70s.
Like our state did at that time.
That too. That's one thing. Yes, I think if people are being taken advantage of for employment and benefits and education, by saying, hey, do this or else. Mm-hmm. I think women, if they're being misled or pressured the wrong way, they should absolutely sue the fuck out of the places that are pushing this stuff and perform these things. It's situational. It's about consent. It's informed consent.
Yeah,
if
informed
consent, people should be able to do what they wish. It's their life. It's their body. It's such a basic concept. It's mind-blowing. It's still an issue in this country.
Yeah, that would be a great way to start the series. Actually, is talking about consent, but also informed consent as it refers to like medical and psychological processes and like participating in research studies, that kind of thing. Because I do have a little bit of background in that.
Wow.
Yeah, consent's important because there are some procedures that doctors will push at you like it's no big deal, like my ablation. I mean, when I look back, I don't think I would have done it, but it was. Everything I read, the advice I got from my doctor, the brochure, the pamphlets, both sides, I can play devil's advocate here. I think both sides of the argument have some guilt here on information so that they both have ammo to say, see, you can't trust them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's something that I really wish our government agencies would step more into and not leave this on such a state level.
Yeah.
They really, I think one thing I really could see, I don't have a problem with on certain levels of government, not necessarily they dictating everything, but information, like the CDC, unbiased, straight out. This is the information that you need to know about these procedures. These are the risks.
That would be
per
great.
1,000, per 10,000, that kind of thing. I don't think that's such a hard thing to come up with, and people can make up their own mind and their consent. I talked to tons of people who had all varying degrees of different procedures done. So that way I kind of knew what their personal experience was during it, after it, the whole shebang, so I could see worst to best per se,
right.
before I went in there asking. And I think informed consent's a huge thing. And if that's made, people just need to step back and be like, okay. But then you have the problem. You'll have these places refuse to do service. And then where do you go? You've got to go a state away to a place that will. It's almost as bad as these women health clinics, that offer abortion procedures if needed. And well, look how far across the state you've got to go and how many places don't want to do business with them. And it's ideological. It really has nothing to do with what women's health and safety. Because if it was, they wouldn't shut these places down.
Yep. Absolutely.
We need our cancer screenings, We need our exams. We can't always afford to pay our copay at our primary doctor.
Yeah. And thankfully, the SCOTUS ruling recently helped with at least some of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we did an episode about that where we had some people talking about the trap laws. It was episode 24, Guardians of the Uterus. Mm-hmm. We're totally going to do that again sometime. We should have another Guardians of the Uterus episode. Definitely.
I know in the meantime, I don't know about all of you, but I know with my daughters, I give them as much information as I can. I do that with my boys as well, of course, because I try to raise them up without a gender role particularly programmed in their head as best I can. Mm-hmm. Society and TV and media is still going to have some influence on it. But, for the most part, I think it's important we let my children know what their rights are. If my 19-year-old needs to go buy that morning after pill, which she did need to do on occasion, and then you have a woman demanding to see her ID and try to deny her even though she's 19, this is the kind of things you deal with. You've got crusaders even in the pharmacies that you've got to deal with.
Yeah, and that's a big problem here and in the UK. And I think there actually is a court case that's coming up with that sort of thing too. I can't remember where I saw that, but there was something going on regarding pharmacists and their religion interfering with giving out medication.
That's why I think they need to make it over the counter. Then you pick it up. You go to the self-checkout, so you're not dealing with any clerk that might be offended, and just move on.
See, I think Plan B is over the counter here.
Plan B is over the counter. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's still some places you go, like Walmart. In Fort Wright, Kentucky, I will call you out. You go in there, they keep it behind the counter. And they'll demand to see an ID anyway.
That should not be legal.
Bullshit.
That's like
because it's an over-the-counter drug, and if you're keeping it, that's ridiculous.
You know what? That is exactly like the fucking voter ID law.
They want you to walk up to the counter so that somebody can give you side eye and say, "Oh, you've been getting it on." I mean, it's just about policing your sexuality.
Yeah, it's like if you need a pregnancy test, a lot of the places like Walmart will keep them behind the counter, and their excuse is because people steal these.
Bullshit.
But that's not.
They want to guilt you.
It's horseshit.
They've got them at the fucking dollar store. I mean, Jesus. You can find them not behind the counter other places. So it's like, okay, well, I'll just go not get shamed somewhere else.
What about a man buying a morning after pill? Would they allow him to do it?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I've never had to do it. That's why I was wondering.
They probably side-eye it and wonder who you're buying it for if it's not for you.
That would be an interesting experiment to try, like if it's behind the counter.
Yeah. They try to treat it like you're buying cigarettes for a minor, probably, is what their excuse would be.
Probably.
I bet money on that. But they don't care about pregnancy tests. They probably wouldn't. They can't do anything about that. But.
It's all about making up for fucking Eve.
Pretty much.
They're like, you owe us. Being punished because Eve.
You brought knowledge to the world. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I just never understood this whole treating your sexuality as a detriment. I never understood that because they try to use it against you. They use that as a guilt trip. Oh, look, or you were irresponsible, or you were this, or you were that. You know, there's a lot of reasons people need these things. And it's just like, for all you know, the person by that morning after, she might not be comfortable reporting a rape, and she needs that just for peace of mind.
Yeah, or have somebody in a relationship who is abusing her and is trying not to get pregnant so that she won't be stuck in that relationship.
You know, or you've got an ignorant kid like me who grew up in a Pentecostal home whose parents never really taught her about anything. It was never spoken on. I mean, if I love my children dearly, they know, but if I'd known about that morning after pill when I was growing up, my life would be different. But I didn't know. I was ignorant. And if there's a kid out there that's ignorant and they're like, oh, wait, and they find out, and why wouldn't you? Why does they need to be punished for an ignorance that they were subjected to in the environment they were raised in? I don't understand why we punish any woman or man in a relationship, a couple even, who's in a situation like this, and they're raised in a society that doesn't give them proper informed education. They don't give them opportunities. And at the same time, then when they screw up, supposedly, I don't see it as a screw up. I see it as a screw up on the part of society not educating them on how to prevent to begin with.
Absolutely.
You don't want abortion, you hand out birth control.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, people are going to have sex. It's called being a human. It's like they don't even want you to be a human. It drives me up a wall. But
it's in it's hardwired in our natures to breed. And some people don't want to, and that's totally fine. So they should be able to make that choice.
And they should be able to do safer methods to avoid it, even if it means it's a permanent one.
Absolutely.
It's their choice as long as they're informed and they weren't lied to or misrepresented. I don't see an issue.
Yeah.
I think the thing that angers me most is when I walk into like one of these situations, like up to a pharmacist, and it's a woman who does this to me. I'm like, how the fuck can you do this? You know, like and a lot of it is in this religious area. Women tend to be more religious than men in this area.
Well, there are a lot of very anti-feminist, anti-women's health women out there, which is partially why we're doing this podcast.
Of course. But when I encounter one of them, that's the point. Like if a man does it, I can more easily say, fuck off, you know?
Yeah.
Like I can't, you're just angering me. But if it's a woman who does it, I'm like, look, like,
really?
Sister, really?
Come on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but I even sometimes catch some flack on the secular side. I'll have people.
Absolutely.
I do. But it's not a lot. But they're on the secular side. They're in all walks of life and creeds and ideologies. I mean, there's some women out there who look at me and they're like, you're almost 40 and you're not in a monogamous relationship. Not necessarily married, but it's like, why aren't you committed with somebody yet? You've got 4 kids and, they're looking around. It's just like, I did the committed thing. I've got 4 kids to show for it. Obviously, that wasn't working for me, and it's like, I don't know if they're just hating on their lack of freedom. I don't know.
But there are a lot of social pressures. Like when you walk into a room, if you have a man by your side and children, you have a lot more social credibility than you do otherwise, whether you're a single woman or whether you're a woman with children. Like you get those looks in situations where you walk into a group of people.
Absolutely. And I've found that, moving from Michigan to North Carolina, it seems like there's a lot more of that kind of thing in the South where like, you come into a conversation with a certain amount of cred here. And like, if you're a woman who's not reproduced, then you lose the right to say anything for certain conversations. And it's like, I don't even want to be in this conversation.
And there's a lot of odd things. It doesn't matter how many times you've had sex or reproduced out of marriage. Like the marriage saves you. Like if then you become monogamous and you walk into a room with your husband, like you're all good. You have your social credibility back.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You've got your life together because you're in a partnership.
Right.
I mean, I spent the first half of my life in a partnerships, and it's like, it's not what they make it out to be. I don't really see other than, if you want to, and I think sometimes that might be a leftover martyring complex that comes with religious relationship status, because even in religious groups, if your husband cheated on you, but you're still by his side, they kind of look on you with admiration, like you're such a martyr, and it's just like, I can't fucking live like that.
Yeah. It reminds me of when Joey and Lindsay Kirkman were first starting their podcast about being polyamorous.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they got so much flack from other people in like even in the secular community who were like, I don't like that you're doing this, therefore we're not friends anymore. Like, it's not affecting you who I have sex with.
Yeah, even in the secular community, people see other people's sexuality as a threat.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do. Especially, you know, if it's like I live a life where I'm not in a monogamous relationship. I like that freedom. Does that mean I'm pan. I love who I love. But if I'm in a committed relationship, I'm with that one person. But if I'm not in a committed relationship and it's just open, it doesn't mean everybody that walks by is a potential screw. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But they treat it that way. So therefore, anything that happens to me, like a pregnancy or whatever, I brought that on myself because of that. And it's like, not really. It's because I didn't have the appropriate, you know, birth control options on hand. You know, there's a difference. But they attribute that to your sex life and not so much. It's just you need access to birth control. If you don't have it.
It kind of reminds me of like the whole story about like when women come out as a lesbian or bisexual and like their parents are afraid that they're not going to have children, so they won't have grandchildren.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you put all that price on my sexuality to have to come out with grandchildren for you?
Yeah, it's like I'm your.
Why not just accept me for who I am? Yeah. I could always adopt children. Why is that a problem?
So, yeah, they need to have more kids so that those kids can have kids if they want kids. Like, you need to, like, expand your percentage.
Because there aren't enough kids without parents in the world, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm lucky in that I haven't been pressured from my immediate family, from my mother, to have children. She has, you know, grandchildren already from my sibling. And so, but she knew early on, like I never had those sort of, I want to be a mom instincts. I never played with baby dolls. I didn't do any of that. So she knew pretty early that there was a, you know, a low probability that I would reproduce, you know, with, you know, deciding to reproduce anyway. So
yeah,
she knew that.
I had a very hard time with deciding whether or not I eventually want to have children. Cause at first, like as a kid and everything, I was like, yay, I want to have babies and all this stuff, and like played with the baby dolls and all that, played house and whatnot. But then as I got into like college age and stuff, I was like, I kind of wonder whether or not this was my choice or I've just been indoctrinated to want children for all this time. And so at some point I just decided, you know, I'm not sure. And I, you know, got to a point later on where I was like, yeah, I do want to have kids, but on my own terms and with the right partner. Mm. And if it's not the right partner, then that's not going to happen. So
yeah.
Yeah, it's often very hard to decide like how much of what you're experiencing is indoctrination and how much of it is free will. You really have to spend some time thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very much like deconverting.
Right.
Where you go, how much of my, you know, what I see around me and how I experience things is cultural or it's religious indoctrination or, you know, what's going on here, how I'm thinking about things. And
I'm amazed by the amount of people that I'm surrounded by who just do things because it's the next step in the process of the life story that they've been given.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Especially, you know, people who they get married young, they start having children. You know, they're not really happy about any of that. They don't want to be married. They don't want to have children. And this is sort of the next step, the thing that you do.
Yeah. I would have been miserable if I got married in my early 20s. It would have been awful.
I got married at 16.
Oh my gosh.
So I can tell you, I don't really remember childhood because I never really had one. My marriage, like many my age, well, I can't say many, but I don't know many people my age, many, and I don't mean the majority here, but it was a mutual agreement. We wanted to get away from home.
Yeah.
Right? And we really didn't have access to birth control or money to purchase it.
Gotcha.
Pull and pray. And then after the first one, we're like, okay, whatever, you know, and that's what happens when they're young and they come out in the world uneducated, naive, and you don't have resources, funding, or programs available. Then next thing you know, you're 19, you've got 2 kids, and then by the time you're 30, you've got 4.
Yeah.
It's not a healthy scenario the way it's brought up. And these were kids conceived in marriage that people go on about. I didn't really put a value on the marriage for that. For me, it was just something I needed to do in order to legally move between states.
Yeah.
So, you know, I had a very bad background at home like he did. So again, it's just the pressure. And then I'm out there with all these other airmen's wives, and it's like, yeah, you got to have kids and they'll keep you together. So you got that idea. And, you know, there's all this misinformation out there about family and the benefits of having kids, you know.
Yeah.
And now here I am. I'm just now starting to pursue life. You know, I think if it's for you, that's great. There's some folks who love it, but, you know, looking back, it's not fair to my eldest two anyway. It's not fair. They didn't get to enjoy the cool mom my younger two boys have got. So, you know, and luckily they're not bitter about it. They get it. They've learned a lot of lessons from me on that, which I'm grateful for. But when I look back, it's like right now I'm probably the only person they can call for information on how do I handle my insurance to get my birth control. How much is the copay? Mom, I don't have the copay this week. Well, babe, here's my credit card number. Let me call them. I'll pay your copay. You know, because they don't have women's clinics nearby they can go to, or they're scared to go because of all of these protesters and people screaming at them. And they'll see this 21-year-old walking up there and they're just going to assume she's trying to get an abortion, and they're going to be yelling these horrible things at her. And what kid wants that? They intimidate people away from being responsible. Yeah. Because their attitude is the only thing responsible is deny yourself your humanity.
Yeah. And if you could get a procedure like a hysterectomy or tubal ligation because you didn't want children, then those abortions wouldn't happen. Go fucking figure.
Exactly. It's like birth control, period. And education. Informed education will prevent abortions all day long. But that means people can have sex. Yeah. And then that means they're whores.
What's so amazing to me is we think we live in such an advanced civilization, and this basic access to women's health care, most people still don't have it.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. Even in one of the richest and most powerful countries in the entire world, we still have this problem.
It's simply because, it's not that we can't do it, it's simply because of all of the social stigmas still surrounding women's health care and reproduction rights.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
Yep.
Well, I think we are at a good place to wrap this up. Is there anything that you would like to promote? Where can we find you and Unbuckling the Bible Belt?
And thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It's so important that other women out there hear what you have to say.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
I'm glad I got to hash out with you guys, because I think if people can just listen, sometimes information is key. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. It's never cliche.
The more you know.
Exactly, right? But yeah, you can catch myself along with my other fantastic co-hosts. We have a podcast called Unbuckling the Bible Belt. It's UTBB podcast. You can get that on everywhere. It goes through Libsyn. So if it's iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, all those places, Libsyn sends it off those direction. We also have a website, www.unbucklingthebiblebelt.com. And I post the podcast on there as well. So if you don't want to download to your phone and just want to listen, you can do it there. So yeah, I'm all over the place. I also do blogging over at xchristian.net. You can find me on there. I do all kinds of social issues, especially with women's health and rights. Definitely check it out. I try to pass along information. So that's where you'll find me and the rest of us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. And I really appreciate you again sharing your story. This is a great opportunity to
I don't
reach
think
out to a bunch of listeners.
Nearly enough time talking about these issues in the secular community, and it's time that we did.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
we need to share these experiences, definitely, so people know they're not alone. They're not crazy, and they're not being unreasonable.
Absolutely. I'm going to use this as a jumping off point to begin a series about access to women's health care and to reproductive health care for all of us.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. I look forward to listening to more of your shows.
Awesome. I will send you a link as soon as this one's up.
Will do.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Host Ms Bea and Demanda Wright promote secular feminism in a mostly metaphorical orgy of information, wisdom, and humor, with the help of the likes of a producer named God, a farting flying unicorn mascot, and a couple of dicks in the penis gallery. Promoting secular feminism is a podcast like no other that uses a spoonful of humor to help the feminism go down. Catch new episodes every other Sunday on iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, Google Play, and soon beam directly into your magical Meat Pocket communicator. Plug our RSS feed into your favorite podcasting app. Find that feed on our website, website that's creatively called PromotingSecularFeminism.com. Potential stalkers and adoring fans can find us on social media at Facebook.com/PromotingSecularFeminism and on Twitter at SecularFeminism. Want to reach out and touch someone? Well, contact us at PromotingSecularFeminism@gmail.com. Leave a comment on our website, speaker page, and or message us on Facebook or Twitter. PSF is here to meet your bi-weekly feminist needs with a healthy, luminescent, flatulent chaser and is a proud member of Reason Alliance Media, a united voice for reason.
In the great hall of Reason Alliance Media, there are assembled the world's greatest secular feminist podcasters. On this show, created by the make-believe cosmic legends of feminism in the universe, Ms Bea, Demanda Wright, Producer God, and those knuckle-headed phallic jackanapes in the penis gallery. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all feminist kind. You too can help bridge the gap between secular and feminist communities and fight the sinister forces of ignorance and apathy. Go to patreon.com/promoting secular feminism and make your pledge and reap the rewards. For only $1 per episode, you will receive the sincerest gratitude of the PSF team, a mention on the show, and proof that God, our producer, exists, with more PSF episodes. For $5 per episode, you will get everything from the $1 level and become an honorary member of the Penis Gallery. For $10 per episode, you will get everything from the $5 level and an invitation to a monthly Google Hangout with the hosts, Ms Bea and Demanda, and maybe God and the Penis Gallery. For $20 per episode, you will get everything from the $10 level and a CD of PSF comedy sketches for each season you support, starting with the latest season, and downloadable digital files as well. It's Promoting Secular Feminism, a proud member of Reason Alliance Media, and its proud patrons against the Legion of Doom. This is the challenge to become a PSF patron. Demanda, guess what?
What?
We have more patrons.
Oh, no.
I'm so excited. Okay.
We're going to rule the world now. It's an evil plan.
Yes.
To get all your dollars for world domination. That's what feminists do.
That is absolutely what we're going to do. And we're going to thank...
We're going to round up all the men and put them in concentration camps.
We're going to thank, first of all, our new patrons.
That was very dark. That went to a place I wasn't expecting with evil feminism.
World domination is brought to you by Tim Corp. Tim Corp is one of our patrons, and the corporation who is bringing you Promoting Secular Feminism, and also we have Paul LLC, who is also helping to bring Promoting Secular Feminism to your ears.
The evil corporation sponsoring feminism to dominate the world.
Yes, absolutely. And also, one of our patrons increased their donation per episode last time, and gave me permission to read his message to us, which says, and this was Christian said, "I just listened to your latest episode, and the segment on asexuality was spot on. I'm asexual and want to thank you for obviously spending a lot of time researching what to a lot of people doesn't even exist. You couldn't have done a better job. Every time I thought of an issue that you hadn't talked about, you went and talked about it. You're the first people I've listened to who really get it. So I've just increased my Patreon pledge. Please keep doing what you're doing. I'm learning lots listening to you, and now I know just how engaged and interested you are in making me and your other listeners learn more. Thank you."
And thank
End
you,
quote.
Christian.
Thank you so much, Kristen. It really meant the world to hear that from you. And we're so happy to have all of our patrons helping us to continue to make this show, especially now that we have turned 1 year old on August 17th.
It's a birthday.
Yeah, we're going to be dancing in the studio. So thank you so much. Welcome to the first anniversary
I like that. Let's leave that in.
Flatulence. That is an appropriate first anniversary.
Welcome to the first anniversary edition of the PSF Quiz Show. I'm Ms Bea Haven,
Oh, am I supposed to say something now? Oh, I thought you were the narrator.
and she's Demanda Wright, and we're promoting secular feminism, and we're going to do a quiz show. And we've only got one penis gallery member, so it's going to be Demanda versus
The dick.
Mr. Wright. And these are some pretty tough questions that I have gone through with
I've
Mr.
got
Haven.
This. I don't listen to the show.
I'm going to keep track of points by highlighting who got the answer right, and then we will add up points at the end, and we will pick a winner.
Can I be yellow?
I don't have a highlighter that's yellow, so everybody's blue. I'm just going to put your initial on it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we got this. We have a
So-
plan.
We'll go Jeopardy rules, except for the answer being a question thing. That's crap.
Okay.
We have 5 categories,
What's the-
and we have 5 point things. So we've got 10 level, 20, 30, 40, and 50, and they get more difficult as you go higher in points.
I almost said, what's the category? I've had a little too much to drink.
The categories
This
are
isn't going to go well.
the categories are crew, Princess Sparkle Farts, segments, other sketches, and quotable quotations.
Ooh. I bet you got that from Zach Law.
The quotable quotations, yes, they sure did come from Zach Law, because he tweets a lot of quotes from our show. So thank you so much, Zach Law of Sacrilege, for quoting things from PSF on Twitter, because I was able to find them. Thank you for the historical documentation.
Oh, no. I'm never going to get this.
Okay, so, Demanda,
Yes.
which category would you like to
Quotable
start with?
quotes for 500.
Okay.
Wow.
Who said, in response to a discussion about the title of a particular segment, quote, "Ooh, Ewoks are even better than gerbils"?
That would be Demanda.
Yep. Demanda for 500.
Points.
Well, that's
Eat that, Mr. Wright.
I'm not going to be
You're
able to.
losing. You're so far behind. I can't even hear you now.
Okay. Demanda has 50 points. Demanda.
Oh, I thought I had 500.
It's
Okay,
50
we're
points.
doing 500 now.
Don't cheat
It's 500.
me. Okay, 500.
Okay. Mr. Wright, you have the board.
Let's try crew for 50. 500, whichever one.
Okay. The question is, how many guest voices have we had on the comedy sketches?
Guest voices on the comedy sketches.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Guest voices?
You mean like people who are guests?
People who are not a regular part of the PSF crew.
Oh, I know this. We need music. He takes a while.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's copyrighted. We can't use it.
We can't use that. We need some flatulence.
Princess Sparkle Farts. Do 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 do.
Bananas in pajamas.
That's also copyrighted, but
Oh,
we say it all the
shit.
time. What do you think, Mr. Wright? Give me your best guess.
3.
Nope. That is incorrect. Demanda, you have a chance to steal.
But if I say the wrong answer, will I lose points?
No.
2.
You are correct.
Yay!
2. We've had Chastity and Jordan are the people who we've had on there.
Yay.
That was close.
You were so wrong.
So long, but so close.
Demanda, you have 1,000 points. Mr. Wright has 0
Well,
so
how
far.
in the hell did she get 1,000 points? And she wouldn't have missed anything if she'd have lost it.
I know. What? It's feminist rules, fool.
Oh, fuck.
Demanda, you have the board. Crew,
Okay.
Princess Sparkle Farts, segments, other sketches, and quotable quotations.
Ooh. Crew for 500.
Nope, that's gone.
That one's gone, but you can do 400.
No. Other segments, 500.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
This one's going to be easy for you now. What did Demanda's character in the Fashion Cop sketch, Officer Peppercorn, threaten continuously?
I was just thinking about this sketch. I love this sketch. And I was bossing people around. I remember that. That was fun.
And you were drinking heavily at the time.
And I was drinking heavily.
See, that's the thing, is that she's drinking heavily when she records, so she doesn't know what she said.
It was something like, I will hurt you. I was threatening violence. I remember that.
Can
That
I
is
steal
incorrect.
It? Can I steal it?
Mr. Wright has a chance to steal.
I will tase you.
That totally was way too loud for our recording, but thank you.
I will tase you.
Mr. Wright has 500 points. Demanda stands at 1,000.
No. She lost points on
I
that.
lost points.
Oh, you did. I'm sorry.
I like
right.
her rules better. I shouldn't have said anything.
I don't understand Jeopardy. When you get it wrong, you lose points.
Yes.
Oh, so now you should be at 0 because you lost it. So.
Yeah, I'm at 0.
Thank you for correcting my knowledge of Jeopardy. Okay, so it is Mr. Wright's turn. You have the board.
And we have...
Crew, Princess Sparklefarts, segments, other sketches, and quotable quotations.
Let's go for Princess Sparkle Farts for the 500.
All right. For what organization does Princess Sparklefarts work as an undercover, shape-shifting, farting, flying unicorn?
I know the name of it.
I don't know any of these.
I'm totally going to put
Am
music
I on the
underneath this,
show?
so don't worry about doing this.
I know the name, and I just need
I purposefully made these difficult because I knew you guys would remember a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, it's the...
I think I know, but I'm not sure.
I don't...
Okay, you lose. Time's up.
Demanda, chance to steal.
Do I lose points if I say the answer?
Yes.
Oh no, I can't say it then. I pass.
Did you not lose points because you said
I don't know.
you don't know?
I'm trying to say it's the...
I don't understand how this works. If you say the wrong answer, then you lose points. But if you don't say anything, then you don't lose points.
I would probably still lose
Well,
points.
I think in Jeopardy you have to buzz in,
Yeah, you have to buzz in.
Okay.
but we're choosing, so it's a little different.
Okay, so everybody's passing, so nobody loses points.
There are a lot of points,
Okay.
and I would like some more.
It's the
Thank you.
imaginary-
The correct answer is the Imagination's Royal Intelligence Bureau.
That was it.
What? The
Yep.
Imagination's Royal Intelligence Bureau?
Yep.
Okay.
See, you're the head.
I wouldn't have gotten that.
You're the director.
I'm director. I have no idea where I work. Okay.
Okay.
I know I'm director, sir. Like,
Yeah.
I've been director, sir, several times, so I remember that.
Okay.
But we always do these after, like,
Demanda, you
Whiskey.
have the board.
okay.
Segments.
Quotable
crew-
quotes.
Quotable quotes. You
For-
have 1 through 400 available.
I'll take 200.
200.
Oh, she's trying to play it safe.
Who said, quote, "We're renaming feminism. It's now Fesminism, and it's all about Doctor Who."
That would be Ms Bea.
Yes, it is.
Oh, cheater.
200 points.
That was easy.
That was because Doctor Who was thrown in.
I know.
You would
That had to be Ms Bea.
You would have guessed yourself until she said Doctor
No, I call it, sometimes I call it testicular semenism.
Who. Yeah.
Mr. Haven, you have
Where's
the
he
board.
at?
I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, you have the board. Mr. Haven is not here.
You're Mr. Wright and Mr. Haven.
Okay, I'll be back.
Mr. not appearing in this film.
I'm Godfrey Wright.
God damn it. Just to figure out what question you
Pick a
want.
question.
Crew 2. Oh, no. Crew, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4 is left? Mm-hmm. Crew 3 then. Or, yeah, 3.
He has no idea.
I have no idea.
Give him a question.
Yeah, you'll definitely get this one.
Okay.
What genre of porn did God, our producer, first discover while listening to Ms Bea recording the segment about fetishes?
Furries.
Yep.
Furry porn.
Sure did. For 300 points.
Hey, I'm in the pause now.
There's
aren't
been
I?
a lot of like disgusting porn stuff too. I mean, not that porn is disgusting. The stuff about feces and things like that was
2 women in a cup.
No, don't say it.
Demanda, you have the board.
Okay. Miss B's just not responding to that.
Nope.
I like the quote one.
Okay.
So I'll take
There's-
that for 300.
Okay. Who said in response to the titillating topics, quote, "It's a titbit offensive"?
I think that was Godfrey Haven.
It sure was.
Wow.
300
Isn't it
points.
true?
I'm winning.
You are currently at 1,000 points.
Oh,
And Mr. Wright's losing.
Mr. Wright currently has 300. Mr. Wright, you have the board.
Crew for 4.
Okay. During which episode was Mr. Wright very sick and having difficulty speaking?
Every
The number
episode.
or the title of the episode would be acceptable.
that there was one time where you were unwell.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What episode are we on?
For no, it wasn't your fault that time either. Like
This is episode.
it wasn't drinking induced
26.
or anything.
You were just. I was just.
You were sick.
I was very sick.
I would also accept the name of the sketch that you were reading in that episode.
Oh, I don't even remember that one. I was really bad off. Let's see. Hang on. It was.
He doesn't remember.
Shut up a minute.
Shut up a minute.
23.
That's incorrect.
This is a window into our marriage.
Amanda, you have a chance to steal.
Let me think. What?
You have a chance to steal.
I have no idea. I don't remember
It's
that.
22 then.
I do remember him being sick, but I don't remember what episode that was.
22.
You're currently at negative 100.
Ah.
Ooh, that has to hurt.
It was episode 17. PSF has fallen to the communists. It was the monthly visitor was the sketch.
See, I wouldn't remember that then.
That was a really good. I liked that sketch.
That was a
I
long
did
time
too.
ago, too.
It was fun. Demanda, you have the board.
Okay. Do I have any quotey ones left?
There is 100 and 400 left.
I will take 400.
Of course you will.
Who said, quote, "We know what to look for, the call of the whiskey indigestion."
We know what to look for. The call of the whiskey. That's very complicated, and there's a lot of elusiveness to that quote. So I think it was Godfrey Haven.
That is incorrect. Would you like to steal, Mr. Wright?
I'm going to say no, because I don't want to lose any more, because probably no.
He doesn't want to lose any more points.
I don't want to lose any more points.
Who was it?
That was me,
That was you,
misbehaving.
Miss
Yeah, it
Behaven.
sure was. In response to symptoms of whiskey indigestion.
Yes, I remember one episode there was a lot of whiskey indigestion apparently.
Yes,
All right.
there's another question about that.
I often also get wine indigestion, but not as frequently as I get whiskey indigestion. Just
Fair enough.
Princess Sparkle farts for 4.
Okay. What was the name of the coffee shop where Princess Sparklefarts worked undercover in her first human job?
these are really difficult.
Yeah,
You did a good job.
thank you. Mr. Haven helped quite a bit.
Wow.
And so did Zach Law of Sacrilege
Cast.
Cast.
What's the coffee shop?
Yep.
I bet our listeners are yelling at me right now. You damn
Now
fool.
that I'm thinking about Brownie Two Arms, I need a snack.
Yeah. We're all hungry here now. It was rather themed,
Yeah.
if you'll recall.
Yeah.
That, like all the restaurants, I remember that. I remember there were restaurants, but I don't remember the coffee shop.
Yeah. It was a while ago.
Yeah.
I think it was her first full episode, actually. I
Ooh,
think so.
Oh my god, I can't even think about it. It was.
sweet pickle.
Would you like to pass?
He needs to pass something.
Well, if I pass, then that means I lost points already.
No, I'm not giving you.
Oh, see, he's getting competitive
If
now.
you pass, then you don't lose points.
I'm
But if
gonna
you
pass
answer
then.
incorrectly,
I'm
then you
going to
lose
pass
points.
then. I'm going to pass because I know it's something that's in it, but I can't remember the whole name.
I have no idea. I passed.
It's
Okay.
Hoot or something.
No, that wasn't.
That
coffee
was the
shop.
family restaurant.
That was
the
the
coffee
restaurant.
shop was called Ahab's Coffee.
I would have never got
It was
it.
Moby Dick themed.
I would have never got it.
Ahab's Coffee.
No,
Yep.
I would have never got it.
That was a favorite of mine.
I just remember they all had breast in them, so that's what I was thinking. But
That
I
was
don't
the
know.
I
next
hope
one.
the listeners understand that most of the time when we're doing this podcast, that half the crew is inebriated at the time.
I think they understand that by this point.
I think if they don't understand this, it's going to sound really odd.
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing?
Demanda, you have the board.
I should finish off the quote one.
Yep, there's a 100 left.
I also sometimes eat my food separately, like the peas first and then the chicken.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Quotes.
Who asked indignantly, quote, "Is there burping and porn watching?" at the end of their segment?
That had to be me.
Yes, it was. Very good. You have 700 points now.
Oh,
Ooh,
Mr. Wright.
I've lost points. Oh man.
I don't even know where I'm at.
You have negative 100 currently.
Oh, right.
So, we now are out of quotable quotations, so we've got crew, Princess Sparklefarts, segments, and other sketches.
What's other sketches?
Things that are sketches that are not Princess Sparklefarts.
I mean, what do we got?
100 through 400.
400.
Okay. Quote, "There has never been a terror as terrible, a horror as horrible, a monster as
I know this
monsterable as what?
one. I know this one. Me. I'm raising my hand.
You are.
Yes,
Now he really doesn't want to let you have it because you know the answer.
I know the answer. I know this one.
As a period.
The monthly visitor.
Yep, that is correct. Demanda gets.
She gets it.
Demanda stole it.
And I go backwards.
400 points.
Ooh, honey, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, bullshit.
I'll buy you dinner after this.
Oh, that's good. With what?
Hey, I'm currently employed.
With no paycheck yet.
You have negative 500 points.
Well, at least
I'm just going to remind you of that.
I'm oddly even.
Demanda, you have the board.
Okay. Oh, let's see. Are there any crew questions left?
Yes, there's 100 and 200.
I'll take 2, please.
Okay. Which 2 crew members are most likely to reply to or end a statement with, quote, "That's what she said"?
Ms B.
That is one of them.
I've said it quite often, but I don't think it's my thing.
Whose else is that thing? Whose thing is that?
Let's see. Is it Mr. Haven?
Nope.
It's Mr. Wright?
It sure is.
He says it all the time?
You
All
lost
the
it.
time.
Really?
All the time.
I sure do.
Yep.
I knew those 2.
You knew it was you.
Yes.
I didn't know you were the one doing that all the time.
Totally. He responds to
Random thing.
at the same time I do.
Yep.
We jinx each other all the time on that.
That's what she said.
Okay. Mr. Wright, you have the board.
Okay, what's left?
We've got Crew 100, Princess Sparkle Farts 1 through 3, segments, all of them,
Wow.
and other sketches 1 through 3.
I'm going to go really low in the points here. Let's go segments 5.
Okay.
I'm going down 1,000.
This is probably the most difficult question in the entire show. Just so you know.
Hell, they all been.
I bet I know it.
How many guests have we had on the show this year, including our guest today?
Wow.
That's
And we're
very
talking about this year?
This year.
As in not in our full anniversary year?
Yes.
In our anniversary year, since we started the podcast, not the calendar year.
Okay.
It is okay to list them out loud if you'd like. But then you might give it away to Demanda.
I know, I'm pretty sure I will give it away. Well, see, there's a couple episodes I wasn't on babysitting that you guys had interviews.
That's right. So you don't remember them.
I don't.
I hate that. For
But
you
you've listened to them.
Yes. And you also had Guardians of the Uterus where you had a
Those were a
shite ton.
lot of guests. Oh, did you count those individually?
Yeah, I sure did.
Oh.
But somebody was on our show twice.
I know who that was. Zandy.
Yep.
Well, thank you for telling me.
You're welcome.
I actually knew that. So she only gets counted once.
She only
Exactly.
gets caught once.
I would have told you that anyways, because that would have been a trick question then.
Now, we're not counting the ones we were on, right?
Correct. These are just guests who have been on our show.
Oh my goodness.
You're not helping.
I'm over here being supportive. I really am. But we could have a whole conversation if you'd like while he does that.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have enough time.
We'll have enough time to do that.
That's true. Would you like to answer a question while he's just figuring out the answer to his? We'll come back. So, what would you like to answer?
I would like to answer
Crew, Princess Sparkle Farts, segments, and other sketches.
segment
Okay, we've got 1 through 400 available.
400.
Okay. Of the regular segments we have on the show, which was the very first to occur on the very first PSF episode?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it either had to be Feminism 101 or Titillating Topics. So I have to know which one happened first that time. And normally Feminism 101 comes first, but I don't think that's how we started out.
I'm not giving any clues
I'm
for
trying
this
to
one.
watch your face. Okay, way back when. Let's see. Oh heck, Feminism 101.
That is incorrect.
It's not news.
Yep.
It's
that's
not
right.
news.
Yep.
I'm going to say 11.
It's not
That
news.
is incorrect.
Okay.
I'm going with 12.
You got to
Is it 12?
negative 100, and now minus 500. You're now at negative 600.
Oh.
Oh.
And Demanda, you minus 400 for the incorrect answer, which is now 500, and then you got the 500 question incorrect. We've had 15 guests this year.
15 guests. I'm at 0?
So you're at 0.
Oh.
Welcome back to my world.
Welcome back. Welcome back. I'm at 0.
You're at 0 and negative 600. What? This is a terrible game.
Oh.
That's right. And it's my turn again.
All right. Mr. Wright has the board. We've got 1 through 300 on Princess Sparklefart's segments and other sketches, and 100 for crew.
Let's go for Farty Princess for 3.
Party princess.
You're going to hate yourself for asking that question. The character Carl Lutefisk is based on what real-life fashion designer?
I don't. Oh yeah, I do.
You knew the name when we were doing that
I know
sketch.
it now.
It's all hers.
Lagerfeld.
Yep. Karl Lagerfeld.
I would've
is the
never got
correct
it.
answer.
I'd have never got it. I don't want to lose anymore.
Ooh, I'm winning.
Yep.
300. Amanda, you have the board.
Okay. I need something for 300. What do I have left?
Segments or other sketches?
Other sketches for 300.
Okay, let's see. Rita, the secretary for Mansplanation, the game show, insulted Duke Manley in Yiddish by calling him a what?
A putz.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Wright?
Oh, no. I guess
You can do it. You can do it. Go, Mr. Wright.
So the only things we got left are 2s.
2s or 1s. We've got Princess Sparklefart segments and other sketches. And we've got, we've got a 300 in segments.
I'll take that one then.
Okay.
Oh, don't sound so sad about it. You're like, oh.
I'll take that one.
You'll probably get
300.
this one.
Oh, I
It's
doubt
very encouraging.
I doubt it.
Demanda was trying, after 7 shots of whiskey, to do a Feminism 101 segment with an analogy about allies as what?
Cars.
Yep.
Cars. Yay.
Now you have negative 300.
All right. I'm working my way back up.
Okay. Demanda, you have the board.
Miatas, to be specific.
You have the board. We've got 100s in crew, Princess Sparklefart segments and other sketches, and 200s in Princess Sparklefart segments and other sketches.
200 other sketches.
Okay. What is the full name of the Dildos and More store?
Dildos, and more dildos, LLC outlet store.
Close,
Did I miss
but
a dildo?
incorrect. Would you like to take it?
I'll try. Dildos, and more dildos, and anal beads. LLC outlet store.
Oh.
There was an extra dildos.
You missed a dildo.
It's 3 dildos. Dildos, and more dildos, and Anal Beads LLC outlet store.
Okay.
Oh, I had too many dildos.
We're very close.
That's often a problem.
Yeah.
That's never a problem.
So
We both lost.
Demanda has 400, and you have negative 500.
Dildos. We didn't get to practice as much as you did.
Oh
You said
no,
it
I
quite
had to say that
frequently.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
.com.
.com.
So now we have
Princess
Mr. Wright.
Sparklefarts for 2.
Okay. Princess Sparklefarts was auditioning for a commercial for what other PSF sketch?
I have no idea.
Were you here for that one?
I have no idea. I
Yes,
probably
I did.
was.
I have no idea.
Let's see. Rehearsing for a...
She was auditioning for a commercial for what other PSF sketch?
The one we just talked about.
Yes,
Yes.
that is correct.
The dildos.
and more.
Dildos and more. The one we just talked about.
Like the monthly visitor?
No, the dildos.
Oh, wait, you got negative 300.
Oh, I'm getting up there.
Oh,
You're
good
getting
job.
close.
Good job.
Okay. Demanda, you have the board. Segments has 1 and 200. Other sketches, Princess Sparklefarts and crew have 100.
Crew.
Okay. On how many episodes has Demanda mentioned whiskey indigestion?
Oh, God, every fucking one of them.
No, only 2.
That's correct. So far. So far.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
she
just 2.
mentioned- What?
That's all.
600 points for Demanda.
Holy shit.
All right.
Are they all rest of the 100s?
You've got a 200 for segments.
All right, let's go that one.
You're gonna be so happy.
Okay.
What was the topic of the one segment done by a member of the Penis Gallery?
You did it.
I did it. It was women in military.
Yep.
Hey!
I specifically said women in combat, but I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Nicely done.
You negative 100 now. You can get into positives.
I want a 0 at least.
There's 100 for Princess Sparklefarts segments and other sketches.
Other sketches.
In the sketch, Van Helsing Feminist Hunter, Mina was possessed by the ghost of whom?
Lucy was possessed by the ghost of Susan B. Anthony.
Yes. For 700. Mr. Wright.
That's me.
Segments or Princess Sparkle Farts?
Let's go the old farter. She's been doing good for me.
What is Princess Sparkle Fart's secret code name?
Brownie 2 on.
Brownie 2 on.
Yes, it is.
That's a 0.
Now you have 0.
Yay, I'm good. We can stop the game now.
Stop now.
Demanda. Princess Sparkle Farts is featured in the introduction to which other segment?
Princess Sparkle Farts is featured in the introduction to Feminism 101.
Yes. You have 800 points
To
final.
guide us through the
murky, malcontented world of man-haters. I have that memorized. This is how much I listen to this show. You're welcome.
Did I get 0?
Yes, you
What
were
did I
at 0.
Hey, I didn't lose a damn thing.
Demanda won with 800 points.
Ooh,
I really
sweet.
would have loved to see how God did on this, because I don't know how much he listens to it, but it is hard to remember a lot of this
Yeah,
stuff.
right,
So
it is.
very good. Happy podcast anniversary, everybody.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks for making it this far.
Way to go, Demanda, for winning.
Oh,
right.
that sounded so sincere.
It's time for the safe word.
Banana.
Pajamas coming down the stairs.
That would be some slippery stairs.
It would be.
Hey everybody, this is Andrew Garber from the Atheist Roundtable podcast. Find the Atheist Roundtable on Blog Talk Radio, or you can find the fan page for the Atheist Roundtable on Facebook. I'm here to tell you about the most amazing event coming to us in 2017. It's going to happen on April 21st and 22nd. It's going to happen at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Hickory, North Carolina, and it is ReasonCon 3. ReasonCon is the most amazing event that you will ever see. It is so freaking awesome. Already, we have amazing speakers lined up for ReasonCon 3, like Lawrence Krauss, Matt Dillahunty, Aaron Raw, and Callie Wright will all be at ReasonCon 3. So many more people will be there. Just go to reasonnc.com so that you can be the first to know when people are added to that roster. Every year, ReasonCon is the time when you can meet some of your favorite podcasters, and I can guarantee you that ReasonCon 3 will be no exception to that. I can almost guarantee that people like the Atheist Avengers will be there, that Promoting Secular Feminism will be there, that that No Religion Required will be there, that the Barroom Atheist will be there, the Atheist Roundtable, that's me, I'll definitely be there, and I know that so many more podcasters that you know and love are going to come back to ReasonCon 3. In the past, we've had amazing podcasters that I'm sure are all going to come back and be part of this amazing event. Go to reasonnc.com to make sure that you can find out when your favorite podcaster gets on that roster. Again, ReasonCon 3, April 21st and 22nd of 2017 at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Hickory, North Carolina. You are going to love it. So get your information, because you can't get tickets yet. Get it. Go to reasonnc.com. Make sure you sign up for all the information as it comes your way. I'll see you there.
We've been podcasting a year.
Yes, it's been a whole year that we've been podcasting. Oh no, now I'm saying it. August 17th, 2016 is our official year of podcasting.
I've been listening to too much of the Imaginary Friends show.
Yep, it happens to the best of us. So we just wanted to talk a little bit about some of our favorite moments and maybe just reflect on the past year because it's been a lot of crazy
changed.
stuff. Yeah. I quit my job. I'm starting grad school in the fall. That's a pretty big deal. You have a new job.
I'm currently employed.
Yes.
Like gainfully employed, believe it or not.
And
It's been a
are
long time.
about to close on a house.
Buying a house.
Buying a house.
Adulting, that's what I call it.
Hashtag adulting.
Hashtag adulting. I didn't know that was, I've spent a long time as a graduate student. So, I mean, I was very comfortable in that role in life, and now I'm adulting. So,
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.
And we had, this will be our 26th episode of our first year. So,
What was your favorite interview moment, whatever, so far?
I think it probably was when we did the Women in Red interview.
Yeah.
And I got so excited about doing the wiki stuff, and I really do want to get involved with that stuff because it's just so cool that they are giving a voice to women who don't have one either because they're, dead, or just people aren't writing about them on Wikipedia. It showed so much how many practical things we can do to help fight systemic bias.
I think we got the most response from that interview, like people getting really excited about doing something. I mean, because often we feel like, what can we do? We can listen, we can talk, but is there something that we can, otherwise that we can do? And that was sort of the call to action episode, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, here's something you can do. You can do it from your home computer. It's simple, and it really
you could do it right now. Yeah. Yeah. That was really neat. I want to ask, is there a favorite episode of yours or favorite Feminism 101 segment of yours?
Favorite Feminism 101. Well, I spent, you know what? I looked back and I realized that basically
she couldn't remember anything from all the whiskey.
That's true.
Hey, it happens.
What are you going to do? But, I spent 26 episodes really talking about the same thing. Yeah. And I just couldn't get to the point. And then I think maybe like episode 24, 25, I finally got to say what I wanted to say after I read that one article. It's like I was getting at it and I was pissed off at Peter Boghossian and here's what was happening. And there was some stuff about cars. And then I felt like all of a sudden I had a new vocabulary with which to say what I wanted to say. And so I got to the point. So I really feel like, you could, you could listen to all of them and be like, yeah, she is kind of saying the same thing. But,
she just got very emotional. That's what it was.
Oh, yeah.
Then you started thinking very rationally. Angry. Yeah, you started
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And I'm tying you up now.
All right.
I was trying to think of my favorite titillating topics, and I still think it might be the lube episode. Yeah. You guys were like,
that was mine.
What? There is so much information here, and I have no idea what I'm doing. And Help me.
I learned a new word, osmolality.
I know. Isn't that a great word?
I have not forgotten that.
No. I really love that word. I use it as much as I can in regular conversation, but it doesn't really come up that much. So.
I just often say that. Oh, what do you think the osmolality of that substance is?
Oh my God.
It doesn't mean anything to at this point. I just say it.
Osmolality. You're just walking around like osmolality. Osmolality. When people sneeze, you should just say osmolality.
Osmolality.
They'd be like, what? You go, oh, you don't want to know. It's a long conversation.
That's Bushido for bless you.
Is that what it is? And all the misinformation you'll get listening to PSS.
Yeah. So, I have to ask this also. What was your favorite sketch? Like the comedy sketches. What do you think was your favorite one, either to do or to listen to?
I really enjoyed doing Fashion Police.
Mm-hmm. I was getting ready to say, I think Fashion Police was the funnest one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I really got into that. I was a cop. I was telling people what to do. I mean, I'm going to like that.
Yeah.
And then I got to make the siren sound.
Oh, yeah. The woo.
Yeah. So that was fun.
It was actually one of the better ones to listen to, too.
Was it?
Yeah. The editing
it's very funny.
Yeah, it sounds like an episode of Cops.
Okay.
I kind of am tied between that and The Monthly Visitor just because the music on that was perfect.
Well, I like the when you were Susan B. Anthony too.
The Lucy. Yeah. Was that when I was Lucy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I like that one.
I'm thinking it was Mina that you were. Mina was the other one. You were Lucy.
Yeah. She was Lucy.
Yep.
Yeah. Lucy. Oh, I liked being Mina.
Yeah.
I've had some good characters.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
I also like the Planned Victorian Parenthood one because I think about that every now and then. I'm like, green monkey disease.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. The new phrases I have for the vagina that's happened in the past year.
Oh, yeah.
Like beaver mound.
And period.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? It's arts and crafts time at Panty Camp.
I think so.
That was one of my favorite ones. Falling to the communists. I've fallen to the communists was my favorite, though.
The monkey marmot.
The
Panty marmot.
Panty marmot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the panty marmot.
Oh, geez. That was so fun.
Good times. Yep.
All right. Well, I think it might be time for the safe word. You ready for this?
Wait a minute. We do have to say that the penis gallery has been lonely.
Yeah.
Godfrey isn't here.
Yeah, I lost part of my
sad.
penis gallery.
Oh.
You lost a test. You lost a nut.
I lost my left nut.
Yeah.
So.
You know, it happened to Lance
missing.
Armstrong.
I know.
He's still okay, I guess. Maybe, kind of.
I don't know about that. Did he lose a testicle?
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah, he
Okay.
did.
He had testicular cancer.
Oh, that's right. That's the reason for all the Livestrong bracelets. I
Sure
should have
was.
known that.
Yep.
Had a little moment of mental failure.
But then there was the whole doping thing, so we don't really talk about it anymore.
No, shh. What's the safe word? After a year? I don't know it.
Persimmons.
Persimmons. He would like something round. Persimmons.
Persimmons with blueberry balls.
That's an awful image.
Oh, yes.
Persimmons aren't the most attractive fruit.
That actually looks like nuts.
Okay.
Goodness. Okay, I think it's time for the safe word now.
Persimmons.
Bananas.
In 1967, PSF, or Phallic Steroid Freeloaders, later to change their name to the more dignified Prince of Sparkle Farts, and then finally to the less creative but admittedly more descriptive name, Promoting Secular Feminism, started off as a small family band in Hoboken, New Jersey, several years before many members of the band were even born. This chronological anomaly led the group to disband, where they reformed as a crack commando unit in Vietnam, but were quickly sent to a prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These individuals promptly escaped the maximum security prison into the western North Carolina underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. Wait, that's the A-Team. These guys do a podcast or something, I think. Yeah, podcast. Anyway, this is their story.
I honestly don't know how this happened. I went to a meeting, there was another woman there, and she jumped up and said, "Hey, another vagina in the room." The next thing I know, I'm doing a feminist podcast.
It started off small, but with the addition of new blood, the podcast grew larger, stronger, and more veinier than ever.
They found out I had a small studio, and the next thing I know, there are a bunch of people at my house drinking and carouseling.
Carousing.
Oh.
I like carouseling. I like carouseling.
See, this is why I should read stuff. Okay.
We don't ever read it beforehand, though.
I know. Terrible. I can't sight read apparently. Why don't you just use the word noisy, if that's what he meant?
This group of podcasters came out of nowhere and within less than a year became one of the #1 podcasts in the world that uses a farting winged unicorn as their mascot.
I'm not even sure that's accurate.
Their rise was meteoric.
That phrase really doesn't make any sense. Meteors fall, they don't rise. Somebody needs to go back to phrase school.
Is phrase school a thing?
It is now.
Wait, is he writing our digressions? How is he doing that? Or have done that? I'm not sure what the correct tense is for this phenomenon.
I'm not sure. I'm not even reading this very carefully. I could say any cheese monkey butt muncher thing for all I know.
Original founding member Peter Penis Breath left the podcast when he realized what the word feminism meant. The podcasters replaced him with a string of drummers, no one lasting very long, probably because they had stopped being a music band many years before.
None of this is accurate.
Well, technically, I'm a drummer.
Don't confuse the issue with facts, God.
And then the podcasters remembered they had an ace in the hole. Demanda Wright's husband of 62 years, Mr. Nevar Wright.
I'm a big fan of other podcasts. I listen to thousands of them every day. I told Amanda that I can make fart sounds with my mouth, and so podcasting just made sense.
The addition of a guy who made fart sounds with his mouth was exactly what the podcasters needed. And with the addition of Ms Bea's husband.
What were we calling him again? Mr. Haven? Gilroy? gadfly?
Godfrey. Get it? God-free, because he's an atheist. Plus, he has the demeanor of an out-of-work butler.
Godfrey was brought on because he knew how to drive a car, and also because he knew how to type the word fart at just the right time.
Fart!
Eliciting rhythmic and often audible contractions of the diaphragm.
This sketch may be too meta even for me.
The podcast exploded onto the scene with the addition of the 2 new members who had members. The lady podcasters had a captive male audience which they referred to as the Penis Gallery, probably because of their penises.
It's a pun!
And so it was, on whatever day that was, that a podcast and probably rock and roll legend was born.
Are we legends yet?
Next, PSF learns that superstar success comes with a very steep price.
When you're in a band, or podcast rather, you can't let your personal life affect the podcast. I mean, you can, I suppose, but I wouldn't advise it.
Then the excesses of rock and roll will take their toll on the founding fathers of Fleetwood Mac.
Wait, what?
What's going on?
I think our writer was watching a lot of Behind the Music when he wrote this. Maybe a bit too much.
And Ms Bea realizes too late that her husband, the comedy sketch writer, can make her say anything he wants. And I do mean anything he wants.
Oh no.
Oh yes.
I like cheese. Cheese makes poop. Poop, poop, poop. Poop out my butt.
When Behind the Podcast returns.
Are we going to insert a commercial here so it makes sense?
There's no way the addition of a commercial is going to save this train wreck of a sketch.
Are you drinking whiskey again?
Probably.
In a month's time, PSF was on the fast track and in full stride. Demanda Wright brought a much-needed understanding of the different waves of feminism, and with segments like Feminism 101 and It's Not News, Surf was up.
That isn't even punny. I mean, funny. That was also terrible.
This could go on for a while. I need more whiskey.
With the addition of a string of amazing interviews in the new segment Educated Guests, PSF became the #1 album on the UK charts.
I can't even begin to dissect all of the things wrong with that.
As the years progressed, members of the podcast would endure a series of bizarre misfortunes that would ultimately force each of them to evaluate their future and reevaluate their past. Demanda Wright, moonlighting as a vampire slayer, soon began to take its toll.
I'm a slayer? That's awesome!
Ms Behaven's addiction to cheese and cheese products were complicated when she learned that she was lactose intolerant.
It's a real problem, guys.
While his wife fought sexy British vampires, Mr. Wright became a part-time superhero, sneaking out in the middle of the night to join God. At the Atheist Avengers, Mr. Wright and God, now going by the aliases of Major MacGuffin and Wyatt Mathers respectively, were recording a podcast of their very own.
Atheist Avengers actually came before PSF, you know?
Meanwhile, Godfrey Haven disappeared with the crew of the Cygnus while investigating a quantum singularity in deep space.
That's a reference to the movie Black Hole. He loves that movie.
Yet somehow, he continues to write the brilliant comedy sketches, which are the only real reason anyone listens to the podcast in the first place.
Oh, he's lucky he's stuck in that quantum what's it.
In the years after their performance at President Clinton's inauguration, PSF would slowly but surely get reacquainted. The phone calls to each other became more frequent. Podcasters played on each other's solo albums, and almost before any of them knew it, the umbilical cord that had been severed was now mending.
I'm so confused.
Finally, the long-lost founding member Peter Penis Breath returned after discovering himself, changing his name to Vijay Minjwith, and learning to accept his feminist side.
There is no such person.
Where will PSF go now? Will they ever reunite for that one last world tour? Is there a PSF movie in the works? Or perhaps a Saturday morning cartoon show, co-starring a talking cat named Carrie Chapman? Maybe they'll be the first podcast to record on Mars. I'm just asking questions here. I don't know any of the answers. Well, except for the answers to those questions I just asked. And the answer to all of those is no, of course not. Don't be stupid. But whatever they do and wherever they go, they will have a bond which can never be broken. A bond that has forged in the fiery furnace of amateur secular feminist podcasting, who will forever be linked by their lives, their dreams, and their love of whiskey.
Yay!
Thanks for listening to the anniversary episode of PSF, promoting
Dun, 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 dun.
secular feminism. I'm Ms Bea Haven, keeping the perversity in your anniversary.
And I'm Demanda Wright, and as always, we'll see you next Tuesday.